Right, I'm back. Sorry, I just got swatted. Had to go deal with that real quick. Johnny's gone. Everybody get hype. What do you mean? I'm supposed to get hype when I'm here. I don't want to miss the hype. But yeah, we're gonna do one more review here before we do the AMA. Time for one more of these. Let me just get the VOD up here. Here it is. And Leftovers are back. This time versus the favorites of the tournament, in my opinion, at this point. I really thought after Flipside dropped out that Northern Gaming were the clear favorites. Although I thought they were probably the favorites even before Flipside went out. And we're going to be focusing mainly on what Northern Gaming do that's different from Flipside, because obviously Leftovers just beat Flipside in the series immediately before this. So Northern Gaming must have done something very differently if they're able to dismantle Leftovers. Spoiler alert, they do win. Northern Gaming do win this. Obviously we're not going to talk about really missing the ball very much, because that's pretty obvious, and I don't expect any of you to be too confused about what's going on when somebody goes for an aerial and they miss, or they go for a shot and they miss. That's pretty basic, so we're not going to talk about that. But first things first, aerial play. Northern Gaming were not only able to match Leftovers aerial play, which, I mean, Snasky was the main offensive force for Leftovers versus Flipside in the air. Northern Gaming were able to go way above that. They were by far excelling and exceeding their opposition in the air. Don't really like that kickoff from Northern Gaming, it's worth mentioning. They all kind of got stuck on one side together. It's almost an awkward situation. If Leftovers were able to force a 50-50 there, it would have been really good news for them. But Devo, that's a really, really good center ball. Underrated center ball right here. Look at what Devo does to get this center ball over the top of Farah. And it's kind of forgivable that the casters don't notice it, because the camera angle here doesn't do it justice. But he starts off on the wall here, and he jumps off the wall, so he's currently jumping horizontally. And as soon as he gets on the side of the ball that he's able to put the ball back towards the net, that's when he dodges forward and lobs it right over the top of Farah. And look at Farah here, he's just like, I did not expect this, I did not see that coming. That's an incredible center ball by Devo. Very well done. How can you ask questions on Discord? Yeah, the AMA is going to be on Discord. You just type in the channel, it will be called AMA Questions. I myself, I didn't notice that pass and how good it was till I saw a montage of Devo's plays from RLCS, and somebody had gone to the replay, or the replays from the event, and spotted that pass. Yeah, Northern Gaming are all over Leftovers right now. Doing a much better job than Flipside did it. Just putting the ball in awkward positions that Leftovers have to answer. It's a good demo by Snasky. The follow-up is now completely eliminated. Kind of a rushed clear though, and this is something else that Northern Gaming did a lot better than Flipside. They're picking their challenges so well. Right there, there was no challenge on either Snasky's pass or Sicky's clear, and even without going for the ball in either of those situations, Northern Gaming came out with possession. So great ground play as well as aerial play. I'm not trying to say that Northern Gaming were just an aerial focused team. They were good all around. They looked flawless, honestly, on the final day of the LAN. Even though they dropped to the loser bracket in the very first round, they were able to come all the way back. Okay, not sure about that 12 boost pre-jump from Devo, but Remco's so smart. Even though he's in a really awkward position, he just shadows and waits for his opportunity to stick a foot in a safe position. There was follow-up on its way. Again, Remco's so patient in defense. More patience shown in the last 30 seconds than Marky Duda did in the entire series for Flipside vs Leftovers. I've got a Discord for subs. I've got a Discord for anybody, but there's a subs channel on it. Yeah, so I've got a Discord, but my AMA is not going to be on my Discord. I'm going to be doing an AMA on the Reddit Discord. The Rocket League Reddit Discord. But I mean, feel free to join both Discord channels, because I do have a Discord as well.
Well, they talked about the pressure from Northern Gaming. Was it going to be too much for this team of leftovers? And so far, even though they've done a pretty good job on defense, Northern Gaming has snuck 2 by. Some through pure sheer will.
I wouldn't really say leftovers have done a particularly good job on defense personally. They're giving away a lot of possession and pressure for free. Not really making Northern Gaming work for it. Devo's certainly the least patient defender on Northern Gaming, but he's so quick and he's very good at power sliding that even though he does sometimes drive forward and have to turn around, it doesn't always end in a... or it doesn't often end badly for him because he just turns so fast. Very accurate power sliding.
Doing a fantastic job of slowing down the pace. You saw Sicky there bait out a jump and then went for an aerial. Fortunately for him, Northern Gaming's doing a really good job.
It's worth mentioning that Sicky's attempted air dribble kind of shows us why it's not the best idea to like go for a double jump pop to take the ball over the top of a defender, because as soon as you've done that, your car usually goes into the position that the ball was in. Look at the ground play from Northern Gaming again. So Devo takes one player at the game, forces a 50-50 with the second player. It's much better than just clearing the ball with one touch and giving the possession away for free. A nice passing play by leftovers. I feel like Northern Gaming could have been much further ahead than they are. Panic from Bremco, uncharacteristic panic. So he just hits the ball away from himself in a situation where it wasn't really in a threatening position. Atrix, sorry, that is 11 months. Moi moi to you, welcome back. Or not moi moi, moi moi actually means bye, by the way. 2 mois is goodbye in Finnish, so not moi moi, hopefully, but thanks for the resub.
To be able to bring this one back, Sicky and Snasky waiting that midfield as Farron goes up for an attack. Devo will clear that to Turbo. There's Snasky with the attack.
But again, just great patience by Northern Gaming. Not panicking despite the fact the ball is very close to their goal. They know that there is no actual danger. Devo's gone to all the way back to get the boost, and it's worked out pretty well. I do like that from Devo. If he's the furthest forward player and the mid boost isn't available, he just goes up and takes the boost at the far side, because now Farah doesn't have any. If this play did not immediately result in a goal, it's still perfectly fine for Northern Gaming. The one thing about that is if you're going to do that in your own games, don't do it in solo standard. Well, you can do it in solo standard, but it's a bit risky. Because your teammates might not notice you going all the way out for the boost and they might play way over aggressive. Oh, it's just another goal. There we go. I feel like game sound could be louder in RLCS, and I know that this is very quiet. I turned the volume down for this game, but in the venue the game sounds really good. At the RLCS, the game sound is incredible. It adds another layer of immersion to the game, but on the stream it could probably be louder in my opinion. Scheist. Free Scope asking the real questions here. 2v2 championship would show who's really good at the game. Well, I mean, 3v3 championship shows who's really good as well, but I would love to see a 2v2 championship. I would love it if RLCS incorporated all game modes and players were allowed to be multi-disciplined. That would be really cool, in my opinion. Also, 2v2 is by far the most popular playlist, remember, in Rocket League. So the fact that Psyonix haven't pushed any competitive 2v2 is surprising to me. Of course, it's difficult for organizations to get involved if there are multiple, what do you call them, game modes available. But I feel like the easy solution to that is if you're signed up for the RLCS in one 3v3 team, you're only allowed to sign up for the 2v2 tournament with your 3v3 teammates. And if that means 2 of you are going to play and the other guy doesn't play, that's fine. If that means you're going to rotate the roster, that's also fine. But that's the way I would do it anyway. Resident76, thanks for the resub. 4 months in a row. Appreciate that. 1 more month of silly gameplay with Epic Toast. Yeah, we're probably going to do more silly gameplay. For sure. Not today though. Today I have a pretty full schedule. Northern Gaming doing such a good job of intercepting clears. You see the pressure is starting to mount. The misses occur more often on defense when when defenders have less time to deal with the ball, and also when they have less boost to deal with the ball. That's the two things that as an attacker you can try to deny your opponent. Besides, you know, outside of just flat out scoring or setting up a shot for your teammate, denying boost and just limiting the time that that the other team have on the ball are the two most important things to do.
5 shots in 30 seconds. I want to find out if that's a record. That has to be. That's absolutely insane pressure.
I'm pretty sure that's not a record. 5 shots in 90 seconds. I'm almost certain that'll have happened before.
There's not really the best scoring opportunities.
What do I plan on doing next? Just exclamation mark AMA in the chat and you'll find out.
There it is. 1:20 in, still scoreless. They did manage to hold off from that onslaught from Northern Gaming. The leftovers did.
Immediately going to the backboard is Turbo. I would have liked to see Devo hit that ball straight up into the ceiling because he was challenged. He knew he was getting there marginally before the opponent, but he wasn't going to be able to put the ball on net or straight into the backboard. I feel like hitting it straight up into the ceiling would have been better. Maybe looking for a shot by rebounding it off the ceiling or just centering it. Either would work. It's certainly the optimal strategy if you feel like you're winning the race to the ball but not by enough to get the ball past your opponent with a direct hit.
Will send that far. Snasky needs to get onto this one. He doesn't get there in time, and Diva will send that back. Turbo up quickly.
What a hit by Turbo. That was something. I don't think the near post defender expected that to be going into the actual goal.
Fantastic job filling in on defense, able to make that clutch save as this ball hovers back in the middle. So you get Devo up, playing that in the middle. Zicky positioning spot on as always as he makes another save, but the pressure.
It's so dangerous playing against Devo. I really feel like he is the best player in the world right now. Such a threat offensively. Certainly the player with the most complete and adaptable offensive repertoire in Rocket League, in my opinion. For 3v3 at least. For 1v1 it's debatable. Again, look, every time leftovers are trying to clear the ball, Remco is there. One of the best players, if not the best player in the world, at reading clears, positioning himself accordingly. I said so several times that if you want to be spectating somebody to learn how to position as the third man, Remco is your man right now.
They're looking to create these chances. They're starting to create these passes to each other, the leftovers, but they're just not connecting. Fair just a little bit off in his positioning there.
And if you're in the leftovers fan club right here and you wonder what on earth the leftovers have to do to try and beat Northern Gaming, that's a very, very difficult question to answer because I don't think you're going to be able to go faster than them. I don't think you're going to beat Northern Gaming's speed. You might be able to match them, but Northern Gaming are playing just as fast as anyone else in Rocket League right now in the air, and in terms of boost conservation, not a fan of that hit by Remco, but it does materialize into the center. There we go, finally frustration from the leftovers, running out of boost. All it took was a 50-50 and Farah leaving the net for a brief moment. I said 500% Scottish if I say the word better. Well, I didn't there, because I wouldn't say better, I'd say better if I was saying it like a Scotsman.
Looking for another sweep, and that's just not good for the leftovers. This is an elimination. If leftovers aren't able to pull us back, they're going home.
Yeah, the leftovers playstyle, I don't think is a playstyle that's able to win lands in the way that Rocket League is played right now. Because they rely too much on the mistakes of their opponents. They don't force enough misplays, which is necessary. I don't know why this is such a bad situation, apparently. Just a clean interception by Devo. Leftovers feeling the squeeze. You can see them looking desperately to find an equalizer. They're overextending now.
Settled down quite a bit. They're only hovering right around 8 right now, as we started with 5 right off the back.
30 seconds. Absolutely insane. You're right, though. The leftovers were able to hold them at bay, but not able to score any of them.
Devo, as we've seen from him in 1v1s, as soon as he goes through those fake jumps, he immediately starts flying back down. I wonder if people are going to start seeing that and it alerts them to the fact that he is not actually going for that air dribble just a little bit earlier. The adaptation is, of course, if Devo can, you know, jump up, lean forward, start boosting back down, and then change his mind again and go back up. I don't know if that's possible to do within one jump. But I'd love to see some sort of delayed flick maneuver from Devo in the future, where he sort of, you know, pops the ball and then he does the thing where he leans forward and boosts out a little bit, and then he actually starts boosting back up again and flicks the ball before it hits the ground. It's very, very situational, and it's purely a mind game, maybe just for Devo, because he's one of the only players that does that. Backboard focus really serving Northern Gaming really well right now. How many players do I refer as one of the best? Well, a few, depends on what I'm talking about. If I'm talking about the best players in the world right now, it's I think Devo's standout best player right now in Rocket League.
But this is a totally different story. The momentum definitely in favor of Northern Gaming. But Leftovers,
so I remember Devo's freestyle bait against Squishy recently where he wave dashed into the ball. I do remember that, yeah. Devo is quite the hen. Yeah, Northern Gaming looking, or Leftovers looking lost. They don't know what to do, and I don't blame them, because they can't keep up with Northern Gaming. They are struggling to deal with the mix-up that Northern Gaming are playing in offense. Northern Gaming are also just hitting the ball very, very well. It's one of the most underrated aspects of professional Rocket League that I always advise to people. If anyone asks me how do you get better at Rocket League, I just say hit the ball hard. Northern Gaming are certainly booming it today. Scrub have a good chance of winning RCS? Yeah, he's got a pretty good chance.
The dynasty that is Northern Gaming. We're going to find out right now as we get underway in game number 3.
Oh, a bit of a mix-up there by Turbo and Devo. I was about to credit Devo for looking for a grind play. I think Devo, more than anyone else, is able to find dribbling plays out of defense. Like I said earlier, it's something I'd love to see Marky do more often for Flipside. Didn't see much of that from him this season at all.
Going in favor of Snasky, Turbo Pulsa forced up to defense.
That was also a really good touch from Turbo Pulsa, the way he rotated his car to make sure it hit inside a little bit more. The angle of that corner just bouncing out a little bit further bought them time.
50-50s are called 150s, but it's every.
Look at that zinger from Devo. He just kissed the ball as it went by. It didn't really go on anywhere near the net, but it was flying into the corner. Explain how being a good ones player helps you in 2s and 3s, because your first touch is getting a lot more practice if you play 1v1s. So your ball control close to your car is probably going to be better. Your shadowing in defense is going to be better, which serves you well not only in 1v1 situations but also 1v2 and 1v3 situations. Your fake challenges are going to be better, which is going to serve you again well in situations where you're against multiple opponents alone. Yeah, 1v1 is a playlist that gives you lots of, it gives you intensive practice. You know, far more often in 1v1 are you going to get to practice your ground shots and your first touch and your dribbling than you are in 3v3. In 3v3 you might only get 1 or even no opportunities a game. Some games you're going to get more, but on average you're only going to get 1 or 2 opportunities to dribble in a game of 2v2, whereas in 1v1 you're going to get several, so you're just able to practice those mechanics more, and that's why 1v1 players are generally better at dribbling than players who exclusively play 3v3. That's not a rule. There are players who are exceptional offensive ground players and never play 1v1. But for training purposes, 1v1 is great for practicing dribbling and shooting from the ground, because you just get so many more opportunities to do those two things. The doink. Oh, delicious placement from Snasky. I wonder if Sicky was going for that passing play initially, or if he was just trying to shoot the ball. It's a shame that this isn't in the UK. The crowd would have gone wild for that doink. Certainly needs to be more creative chanting at the next North American LAN. I want to hear more funny, silly chants. Lucy C. Goosey, thanks for the sub, by the way, appreciate it. Welcome to the channel.
They're looking for another one of their own there, as Sicky was a little bit too far behind. He was waiting for the touch from Devo. It goes a little bit away from him, and now Remco has controlled the turbo pulse of the pop off the backboard. Remco to keep that.
Remco almost able to do the correct thing there. and pop the ball low. Am I going to say streaming while answering the AMA? No, I'm not, because I have to type the answers and I know how much you guys hate my keyboard, so I won't stay streaming. I thought about it, but then I was like, nah, you guys hate my keyboard, I'll just go offline and talk about it after. So after this review, I'll talk about the AMA, so everybody knows what's happening. Oh, what? Devo getting a demo apparently. Didn't look like he was going supersonic. I feel like there might be a lower speed cap on demos when you're in the air. Somebody might be able to confirm that for me. Do I think European players are better than US because of soccer background? I think that might be one of the reasons, but I feel like the biggest reason is just the European pros are trying harder more often. Or at least they have been for a longer time, trying harder and trying to play the game properly for longer. A keyboard is sick. Yeah, some people will like it, but not everybody. That's a bicycle shot, not a doink. It was a bicycle doink. What are you talking about? Snaski's first goal was definitely a doink. It's definitely a doink. It was a bicycle doink.
You pointed it out before. Turbo's like, we're just gonna chill. We're gonna play this. Farah trying to get one of those infamous plays. It doesn't work out though. Devo's a one player, and he knows
Farah is able to play those close to the car situations pretty consistently because his camera enables him to see over the top of the ball more easily than other players. I do feel like it hinders his placement though when he's shooting. So I love getting balled by John Sandman. Do you mean John the Madman Sandman? John Standman? Did anybody see that? The John Sandman's video where he's standing reached the top of, or yeah, it was the top of the Reddit subreddit, the subreddit Mad Lads. Just because it's so not that crazy and the title was all caps. I thought that was so funny. This is a great rotation by Northern Gaming. And look at the pass from Devo, by the way, to set this up. This is incredible. Please put the camera on Devo. Nope. Why are we not? It's nuts. Absolutely nuts what Devo does here. Let's watch it again. Did Devo flip reset? Did he? Yeah, John Standman. Yeah, I think it was actually a flip reset. Did we get to see it on the replay? Maybe a little bit over enthusiastic on the casting front. Yeah, he did. Or yeah, that must have been a flip reset. He's in the air for so long there that Devo, he just flew into the ball and he belly flopped it, and then he flip resets and takes Siki out the game. That's incredible. The casters have no idea what just happened. I thought I review the actual replays. It's more fun for me. 0312 Penner, thanks for the 8 months. Welcome back. I appreciate that. But yeah, not only was that sick because it was a flip reset goal, but it enabled them to tie the game with one of the best comebacks of the entire tournament. They were 2 down with 10 seconds to go, and then one whiff from Snaski. Devo believes. He's Believo right now. You gotta hope sometimes that the defensive whiff's gonna come through, because realistically, were they gonna score if Devo played on Snaski hitting that ball? Probably not. So he just ignores Snaski completely, plays the ball, and gets rewarded. It's a really smart play. In a situation where they're not winning or not losing with 2 seconds to go, it might be wise to try to play Snaski's hit there. By play Snaski's hit, I mean try to intercept it or block it or do something to play around that hit happening. With 2 seconds to go, if you're losing, Devo just has to ignore Snaski there. Great aerial by Devo. Straight up in the air, still able to get there before Siki. And then turbo booms it. Panic from Snaski. At least he was able to get a double touch there, or that would have been really bad. The clear would not have gone very far. This is pretty messy by Northern Gaming all of a sudden. It's fortunate for them that Farah's pass cleared itself at the far post and nobody was there for leftovers. Leftovers, if Siki had gone to the far side of the field there, could have capitalized on some pretty poorly positioned Northern Gaming defenders. They were all in one spot. Boost would have been at a premium. Yeah, as if it wasn't already a done deal. That throw from Leftovers to give Northern Gaming the way back into the series. I mean, the first goal we can't really call it a throw because Devo just flip reset to center the ball, so that's just really good. But the second goal definitely should have been a save. They nearly win it. 1 minute and 30 into overtime.
So patiently, they have to make sure every touch is absolutely critical and absolutely in their favor, or Northern Gaming will be able to punish this. Turbo trying for those.
I was pretty happy to see Northern Gaming playing well, though. I said they were my favorite team going in, or they were the team I expected to win going into the tournament. Assuming Flipside didn't improve and play at their Season 2 level. Like, they just looked so good in scrims, and if that was going to translate to a stage, I don't think any team had a chance against them. I tempted to play Rocket League with a controller, yeah, but I didn't really enjoy it, so I just stopped that immediately. Yeah, Devo takes 1 player of the game, 2, set up, Sicky doesn't challenge it on the rebound, that's game. But this, if anybody asks why do I think Devo is the MVP of the tournament and not Remco, despite Remco getting more actual MVPs, it's stuff like this. Devo won the games that mattered. Remco is getting MVPs in games that weren't close, and then Devo just solos the entire team for a setup. So he pops it over Sicky, comes back down, sees he has time, takes a touch, pops it over Farah, pops it over Snasky. That's a 1v3, and Sicky needs to attack that rebound, try and miss his own net. Devo's actually just nuts though. It's worth mentioning Sicky would have been boost starved there, but he had to try and do something more than a reactive save. Just ridiculous from Devo though. That game was incredible. I didn't realize that he flip reset to set up the second goal. I think the first goal of that game, or no, the tie goal to take it to overtime is also Devo scoring, so very impressive stuff. Sicky had no boost. Yeah, nobody has to attack the ball anyway. He's just gonna go for it. The only way that he's making a save with the reaction play is if it gets hit straight at him. And I think closing the distance, trying to make the goal smaller, was probably the correct play. Would have been really rough though. With Devo playing that well, I don't think it was ever going to be a favorable matchup for Leftovers.
A stellar performance, I'd say. Now,
never seen Remco so happy on an interview.
Leftovers just play in their last series. You guys saw how they cranked it up, just put up an onslaught of offense, crazy opportunities that they capitalized on. Now, coming into this game, did that change your mindset at all, seeing how well they just got done playing?
Yeah, I mean, they played really good against Flipside. I was never expecting them to actually beat Flipside, but I also think Flipside themselves were kind of had an off day. A couple own goals here and there was kind of tilting for them, I guess. So yeah, we thought Leftovers was going to be a very tough match, and it was, but we pulled out a 3-0, and I'm glad.
Very nice.
Wow.
Yeah,
groundbreaking stuff from Remco.
How the Leftovers like to play when they're down, going into that third game.
Oh, the back pocket from Remco. Interesting choice. We've seen a lot of different pocket selections throughout the interviews at LAN, and Remco going, is that the double back pocket? We need to get the rear view camera to find out, but it looks like it might be a double back pocket selection for Remco. Very interesting.
A little bit nerve-wracking thinking, are they going to do this again?
When they were up 2-0 in that third game, I was like, this is going to be a classic Leftovers reverse sweep, but no, it didn't happen. We brought it back 2-2 really fast in a couple, or like half a minute maybe, and ended up winning overtime, so that was really good.
Great thing. So anything else you'd like to say before moving on?
Thank you guys so much, and I hope we get at least some support if we're playing an American team again, aka NRG. Well, we'll see about that.
Alright, Remco again calling out the crowd for their bias, but I mean, it happens, it happens. But yeah, that's it. No, unfortunately, we didn't get to see any more Awesome Joy shoulder touching. It's so good. Whoever made the gif of like the playback forwards and backwards of Awesome Joy caressing Remco's shoulder in the other interviews is a beast.